Hello and welcome to the Pens and Pixels Podcast. I'm your host, Cal G, and to my left is the Coordinator Extraordinaire.
Hi, Ken.
The podcast is the place to come to if you want to hear about the art and news of video games, comics, and movies that week.
I forgot my catchphrase.
With triple P's.
With the triple P's, that's right, with the PPP. The...
When you just forget it like that, you should just be like, steal a raccoon and start a business. Like, just chain, like, bad thoughts together.
I've started to notice that, like, I have a bad habit of verbalizing every thought nowadays. Where I'm just like, I was actually walking the other day and I tripped, and I'm like, oh, look at me, I tripped. And I said it out loud. And I was like, wait, what? Why did I even verbalize that?
That would be like something if I saw it in a show, I'd be like, no, do that. That's stupid. That's bad writing.
I'm bad writing.
Punch a shark and hire a cat. All right. This week we're going to be going over the news you need to know as per usual, and then after that we're going to be doing another After Dark segment where we're going to be talking about what we're reading, watching, playing. Yes. Yeah. Is there any housekeeping, Mike?
Just a usual update. Be sure to join us for a drink and draw in 2 weeks, and also, of course, to keep yourself tuned in. We're very, very close to making announcements about Capital Game Expo, or Canadian Game Expo now. And our speaker list is turning out really cool. So I'm super excited to announce that to everybody. Also, we have a lovely media partnership now that's been formed with ArtStation. So any of our concept art to artist listeners, if you don't know what ArtStation is, I'm kind of baffled.
It's like DeviantArt if it was more professional.
It is. It's professional DeviantArt, actually, because like every single professional artist has an ArtStation account. It's the website for concept artists and entertainment industry illustrators of any kind. Great work up there. Everyone's on there, and their best work is usually on there as well. Plus, it's all in nice 4K, and it's a really great user system, so be sure to check them out. But they're also partnered with us, so we look forward to seeing all that kind of junk. CGX is a long way away. This is in June of 2018, so it's still far away. If you are out of town, though, I definitely recommend making it to this one. I got to go see the conference center, and like, you know, when you do stuff and you're like, oh, I'm just starting out and I'm not like big yet. The conference center makes us look like super legit.
Oh, I don't know that feeling. I don't think a lot of people know that feeling.
I've never felt so legit when we're walking in there.
You walk into a building and I own this space for a certain amount of time.
Yeah,
most people don't get that.
But fucking insane space. Not like I'm walking in and I'm like, oh, I get a factory warehouse in the ass end of nowhere. It's like. It's a legit space in the central part of downtown. And I come in, the guy who meets us has like a board with like an itinerary and a guide walkthrough and like floor plans and shit, and it's all like super legit. So I'm feeling legit.
Can that just be your new catchphrase?
It can totally be. Yeah.
And Mike Kent, I'm feeling legit.
I'm feeling the legit.
Welcome to the broadcast. All right, so if that's it, we can jump right into the newsy news. What do you think of the news?
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a lot more like.
Well, I mean, you guys out there should tell us whether or not it chimes in, and you're like, "Fuck that thing."
Yeah. Are you opposed to change, or do you like this new sound?
Yeah, because
I like the new sound.
I do like the new sound.
The old one sounded almost like a MIDI file or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or something should have been playing underneath it, as that was like the final like. Yeah. Anyways, let's jump right in. First up, some anime news. Rare on this podcast. This is just a quick thing. Junji Ito, if you don't know him, he's probably one of the best horror manga artists out there. Writer and artist. He's done some crazy stuff. I feel like if you don't know who he is, you've probably seen his work online at some point. He did a whole manga about like a town being obsessed with spirals, and another one about like a cat.
It's hard to describe. He's a horror artist to the extreme. He does the most weird and fucked up, like broken, mutated drawings out there possible for all manga artists. Like
immaculately detailed, like just great stuff.
Really heavily thought out. I mean, his most claim to fame, related to most of our crowd out there who are gamers and film addicts, is he was on board to be part of Silent Hills. So it would have been Hideo Kojima,
Guillermo del
Toro, and Junji Ito all together to create one fucked up game.
Yes, it makes you even sadder knowing that he was on it.
Yeah, you know? But who knows? Maybe he brought Junji Ito in for his other one.
Yeah, hey, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Tentacles on tanks does kind of signal that to me, but
he's a super talented artist and very, very famous in Japan, and
he's getting a fucking anime series.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Junji Ito collection, which leads me to believe that it's going to be a bunch of his stories, and each episode might be different.
Yeah, it's going to be like Tales from the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Tales of the Crypt Keeper done by a Japanese guy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And that just sounds like a good time. Yeah. It sounds like a fucking good time, and I would love to see some of these. I hope it's good animation. I hope it's like well drawn and stuff, and I feel like this will be like kind of a one-off thing too. So I'm hoping there is some production value pumped into it. That's it. I just if you're interested in horror at all, I recommend giving him a Google and going to find his stuff. It's all over the place online. So go find him, Junji Ito. Next up, nothing but a little horror news here. The It movie is causing legit clowns to lose work. Okay, so people has had school shows and library shows that were canceled, says the World Clown Association president.
That's a thing?
Of course it is. Like,
could you imagine like that's your LinkedIn profile? I am the World Clown Association president.
Can you imagine him trying to have like a serious like talk, and then he like walks off stage and his shoes are just like gets into a tiny car and drives off. Like, we're losing work.
He's in like a full suit. Like, very proper, looks like a very well-dressed man. Right behind the podium, you can't see his lower half, and he gives this stirring lecture about the impact on his association of clowns. And then as soon as he leaves, he just rides one of those, like, crazy fucking, what's that called? The Cat in the Hat guy. The Dr. Seuss.
Oh, Dr. Seuss. Like like a little bicycle thing with all these fucking moving parts.
That's a good, effective way of getting around.
So... New Line's It tweeted that the Big Shoot performers were pissed at me. Sorry, most are great, but kids have always been scared of clowns. Don't kill the messengers for the message. King was referring to the hits being inflicted upon the legitimate clowning industry thanks to Pennywise the Killer Clown, just one of the many forms taken by the evil entity referenced in the book's title. Oh, yeah, anyways, I'm not going to read this whole fucking article. It's just funny that, like, this is causing clowns havoc. Again. I can't imagine their industry as, like, that booming as it is. I've never really, like, seen a clown in real life that wasn't used for a horror purpose.
Well, I have friends who are actors, and they're not like actors in the way that they're fucking Steven Seagal or I don't know, fucking
Steven Seagal. I love that was your go-to. I love that was your go-to. You think about acting, you really just the names that come to mind: Arnold Schwarzenegger, Steven Seagal, Bruce Willis.
I don't know, Angelina Jolie, whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. Someone who has a name that you recognize.
I thought you'd say someone who was like revered for their acting ability, like Leonardo DiCaprio.
I went with Steven, and I'm like, shit, Spielberg, Sodenheim. I'm like, I'm losing all the names here, and I'm like, the only actor I could come up with Steven was Seagal.
Renowned for his acting ability.
But anyways, my friends are not high-end actors with name recognition or doing movie shit. But they do small-time stuff, right?
Yeah.
And the costume stuff. And clown, to them, doesn't mean, like, white makeup and you go to kids' parties. A clown can be a lot of different stuff. Street performer, even on a stage show. There's a lot of different stuff. It can just be, like, a comedic character that they portray. Yeah. And the associations around that are usually based just around almost like comedic stage actors who aren't doing stand-up. So I think that the impact of being represented, that word just means children's party clown.
That's what you immediately would think of, right?
And then that drops down the fact that people would ever hire a clown character of any kind, and they're getting upset by that. But this is like, what? This is going to be the third or fourth time that the clowns have been impacted by it. When the book first released, when the first season of the show came out, and the second season of the show came out, there was a movie after
and then
that?
It ruined it for a whole generation.
Yeah.
And then there was a whole thing last year with all those killer clown sightings. All those people are dressing up in clown costumes all over the states and stuff.
And now they're doing it again. Like,
and now it's just happening.
But the thing is, the clowns aren't going to go away from that. Like, the idea of a goofy person dressing up in makeup, it's not going to go away.
Oh, no, it's not going to go away, but it might go away for some certain people. They might not be able to make a living anymore. Because Pennywise is too damn scary.
You know
what else is scary? The Clown Prince of crime. Joker.
Not when it's done by Jared Leto.
Well, we don't have to worry about that anymore because Warner Brothers is going to be making 2 Joker movies. I don't think either of them are going to have Jared Leto.
We're up to fucking 2.
Yeah, we're in 2 Joker movies.
I think we announced last time that we were like, what the fuck, 1?
Yeah, well, yeah, like, okay. Okay, so Let's read this.
I think we should just call this whole segment "Deciphering the DC Roller Coaster" because, like, for the next few stories, we're going to be going over the crazy ups and downs that has been DC in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's just been nonstop garbage. I feel like they can't not announce things, things can't not leak.
I literally out loud when reading my Twitter feed was like, "Stop talking."
Yeah.
Just stop saying things.
Everyone just get your ducks in a row before you start announcing stuff.
Or just don't say anything at all. Just 3 months before the movie releases, go, hey, by the way, look at our movie.
Okay. Oh, no, okay, so Glenn Ficarra and John Requa, the executive producers of the NBC hit This Is Us, are in advanced talks to produce an untitled Suicide Squad spin-off based on the Batman supervillains, the Joker and Harley Quinn, played by Jared Leto and Margot Robbie. So these are the ones we know already. These are the ones that are established in the DCEU, being produced by what sounds like some sitcom producers.
Sitcom I never even knew of. But so they're making a Joker movie with Jared Leto's Joker
and Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. But then there's also a solo movie in development, possibly directed, and I think it's confirmed at this point, by The Hangover's Todd Phillips, that dives into the Joker's backstory, but Leto won't play him there.
What?
So, this is going to be...
What is with the selection? I don't know who the fuck This Is Us is, and The Hangover is the guy you chose to do the Joker's backstory?
So the even weirder part about The Hangover one is that Martin Scorsese is producing it. Martin Scorsese is producing it, and Todd Phillips is directing and writing it.
They got that backwards?
No.
I can't even make a joke about what disease they have that prevents them from thinking correctly, because, like, something's wrong.
Let's wait out here. Phillips' planned Joker film will be the first under a new untitled DC banner. It's already untitled, like, don't announce it.
Yeah.
But untitled DC banner that won't be constrained by the continuity that holds together the DCEU.
So they're making a new DC universe, which, if it's more successful...
they're not, though. So this one is going to be, like, the Elseworld, like the what if storylines. Like, this is where we could potentially see, like, Superman Red Sun or Flashpoint or something if they don't use that for the main ones.
But I don't want a separate movie to shoot out like that.
I do. Okay, wait. So the banner is intended to give the studio a chance to expand upon the canon with unusual story angles, according to those with knowledge. Look, the DCEU is like 90% trash at this point.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Wonder Woman yet. We don't know. Apparently, it's good.
I'm going to say tonight.
Let's say it's good. It's off to a bad start. Yeah. If you start just giving like auteurs, like actual good directors, like Edgar Wright or whoever, like, hey, just take it and run with your interpretation of Superman or the Flash or Green Lantern, and just we get like good solo one-off stories, I'm totally fine with that. Rather than having the whole world jam packed together with all these characters that we don't like so far.
You're right. Like, that's the best result of what's happened so far on things that have actually been.
I'm just saying, like, potentially I would prefer that for the way other than the way things are going.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, what I wanted them to do was to start isolating the movies in the way that Marvel sometimes does, with like Guardians of the Galaxy being, and I quote near, isolated. Right?
Yeah, like it's like they're in the universe, but so far they've had nothing to do with the rest of them.
So like the Joker movie would be isolated. The Green Lantern movie, which it should be, and I think it is going to be isolated.
That'd be the easiest one to do isolated.
Yeah, isolated. Wonder Woman. I mean, even currently with Wonder Woman, it is part of the continuity, but it was a prequel story that didn't really revolve around the whole Justice League thing in the build-up. Aquaman's supposed to be apparently the same thing.
Everything announced so far is part of the DCEU.
Yeah.
This Joker film is the first thing that's going to be just not in that universe.
I would have preferred just, like, they all exist together. They're just in this world, you know? Like, I don't want to...
Well, I think the idea with this Joker film is that they actually want to, like, I don't think they want to tell a story with Jared Leto's Joker. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think... They see that and they're like, that's not the Joker we want to tell a story with. We want to do the...
I would say the bigger option here, too, as well, is just cancel Jared Leto and Margot Robbie's Joker movie. Like, we don't need a backstory to that world. The Suicide Squad was bad. Everyone thought it was bad. Like, we don't like Jared Leto as Joker. We don't like... Well, we appreciate Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. She could probably do a better job with a different director, but...
Different director, different writer.
Yeah. Could make her better because she didn't do a horrible job. But I didn't care. I didn't leech onto it in the way that I did with Chris Evans as Captain America, or Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, or the original or the last Joker there,
Heath Ledger.
Yeah, but there's no connection with that Margot Robbie. So,
well, the other Joker movie, the one by the Hangover guy, is an origin movie that will feature a young bullied Joker with a permanent smile. This is a rumor. take it with a grain of salt. Not confirmed.
What does it even mean?
But that sounds fucking horrible.
That sounds horrible.
What do you mean, what does it mean?
But, like, does that mean, like, he's, like just, like, his whole smiley grin thing was just that he has, like, a deformity as a kid?
Who fucking knows? Look, I don't think the Joker needs a backstory. I think that's the bigger... I don't need to see what the Joker was like as a kid.
That's actually the bigger insult to comic book fans. The Joker has never had a reliable backstory of any kind in any comic.
Yeah, the closest one they've had that was... It wasn't even consistent was the Red Hood one where he got pushed in and all this shit, right? And he had one bad day or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like...
That's the closest, but even then we don't really know. Right?
No, like we don't know, and like
the fear of the Joker is where did a creature like that come from?
Right? He's a force of nature.
Yeah,
you have to deal with him then. I don't think what his origin is the interesting part about him.
And understanding his thought process will break the character because Joker's thought process is insane. And it's more horrifying when you think.
I feel like trying to justify that in any way. Nothing is. We're gonna watch this movie and be like, oh, that kid had a bad life. That still doesn't cause what the Joker does, you know?
But even if it does, like, you're trying to explain, like, this is why he's so fucked up now. I'm like, no, I don't want to know. His surprising, randomer nature makes him horribly unpredictable and actually slightly scary, right? Like, he shows up, and again, just like the Batman, he's just a human, but his process is so broken that no one keeps up, right? And...
there are several people in the DC universe who are superpowered who are afraid of Joker.
To break that down and even go back and just say, oh, he has a brain aneurysm and it caused him to have some sort of form of some psychosis or something, that suddenly makes it very empathetic and likable, right? And I don't want to have to sit back and go, okay, I now know why he gets there. It should always be like, well, how the fuck do you tie those two thoughts together?
I love the Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight when he tells the first origin story, and then right after that, like in another scene, he's telling a different one, and I'm like, that's perfect.
Yeah,
he's just fucking with people with his stupid origin story. Like,
and at the end, when he's like trying to explain himself, he's like, there is nothing to me. I just act and react to everything. You shouldn't try and find a source or a reason. I just do. Right?
Well, Brendan Schaub is a former MMA fighter who's transitioned to Hollywood over the last few years. At one point on the podcast, talking about Tim Burton, which led to Batman, which led to the new Joker movie, Schaub is friends with Todd Feldman, who happens to be Todd Phillips' agent, and revealed some new details about the movie. So this is kind of like through a friend to have a friend type rumor, but let's see. My boy Todd Feldman put this together with Todd Phillips. It's dark. It's like a dark Joker. As if there's like some light interpretation of him.
Is there any other version?
As a kid, he had a permanent smile and everyone made fun of him. It's like on the streets of Brooklyn. It's super dark and real. Schaub's comments line up with what we learned last week. The Joker origin movie will be a gritty and grounded, hard-boiled crime set in early 80s Gotham City. This isn't meant to feel like a DC movie as much as one of Scorsese's films from that era, like Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, or The King of Comedy.
That's cool. That's fine. I'm down with that.
Yeah, drawing inspirations from Scorsese's early work, absolutely.
And setting in the 80s for Gotham is an awesome setting for the Gotham in the first place. Like, totally down with that. You've got a movie there for sure. Just... like,
not a Joker origin movie.
Not a Joker origin movie. Also one where you make him like he just had a fucked up smile as a kid.
Yeah, he like had a permanent looking smile and kids made fun of him.
Yeah. Because like even every single time they tell the story of why he likes humor so much, like that's always fucked up and scary. Like, anyways.
Alright. So Matt Reeves, the director of the Batman solo flick coming out that's in the DCEU. We're going to have to clarify this for going forward for every minute of our lives now. All right, so Matt Reeves, he'd said somewhere, he got quoted saying that like the Batman wasn't going to be in the DCEU. And this was before all this whole new Banner stuff came out. And everyone was like, duh? And then the whole thing about Ben Affleck might not be in it then, and that might be someone else, and blah, blah. And it is Ben Affleck's Batman. It is in the DCEU. What he meant was that it's there's not going to be a bunch of cameos from like Wonder Woman and Superman and Green Lantern, whatever, right? Like it's just going to be, this is a Batman flick. It's only Batman.
And are we still on the Batman's not doing it, or the Batfleck is doing anything after this?
As far as we know, Batfleck is just still in the role. As far as we know.
Yeah, but for this movie, but then after that?
As far as we know, he's just the Batman forever. There has not been any more news on that front.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, he's just the Batman going forward. There's not been any more rumors like that he's leaving or not leaving.
It's like the fucking what's his name? Buff British dude who plays James Bond.
Oh, Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig and his whole bitching about being James Bond, and then he comes back and does James Bond. You know. Ben Affleck's sitting there bitching like, I don't want to be the Batman anymore. But are you Batman?
Look, to be fair, Ben Affleck has not been on record saying like almost anything at all.
No.
That's the thing. It's all been like, I'm sure he wakes up every morning with just seeing headlines like, what the fuck? I didn't... Oh. And then someone sees him sighing, looking at a piece of paper, and they're like, Ben Affleck depressed about being Batman? And he's like, well, who took this?
It's like a bad viral meme. Like, we saw him sad once, and we made a joke about it. Now everyone's waiting around looking for every frown.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, your mother died, and he's like, oh, and he's like, he hates Batman.
Yeah, like, to be fair, Ben Affleck has commented very little on this whole thing. I think the only thing he said actually is like, yes, I'm continuing to be Batman. But like, I doubt he's contractually, like, he can say anything otherwise. So, as far as we know, he's just Batman going forward. Alright, let's move on to some Marvel news. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will begin the next 10 to 20 years of the MCU.
The fact that, I mean, I know they were thinking it.
So, during a Facebook Live Q&A, director James Gunn laid out just how much influence the third installment of the trilogy will have on the MCU as it enters its next phase. Gunn said the Guardians Volume 3 will help expand the cosmic universe, allowing for new characters and settings to be introduced in a way that makes sense to the audience. I would
hope
love,
it makes sense.
I would love it that, like, you know, it's probably just like the end, and like they're in space, and like fucking like for some reason Peter Quill has opened up like portals everywhere, and he's just like, they're just looking at one, like, that's the Fox one. We can't go in there, and nothing will ever come out of there either.
I mean, I'm a little bit like, Jesus Christ, I don't want another 20 years of superhero movies.
Why not?
But also, why not?
That's kind of what I think. The thing is, I was actually thinking about this the other day. I was like, I don't think, like, I love a lot of the Marvel movies, but like none of them are like crack my like top 10 movies of all time list by any means. You know what I mean? But I still love them. I want to see like every one of them as they come out. I just think it's a thing. Like, if it does keep going for that long, like, great, I get to see these fucking characters go and evolve, and like it's not like, you know.
The thing I'm worried about is like what happens if Feige backs out, because when Feige's gone, the continuity and the cohesiveness of the MCU breaks.
Maybe they just rebooted at that point. Feige on his exit, I think he'd be responsible enough to just like, okay, we're setting up for like a crack in time, like when the Ultimate Universe ended or something, you know, and just whoop ends.
Yeah, I mean, they probably could do something like that. That's fine, but I mean, like whatever comes afterwards would be the eventual downfall. Really, as a clear sign to his skills and his abilities, and obviously the team behind him and all the forces behind him. But Feige's been such an instrumental character in keeping the MCU so cohesive that it's working, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe is working. Well, no one else can get one off the ground. The closest thing is the Harry Potter universe.
Yeah, and that's like one story told throughout a universe. Yeah,
and even then, the new one is like shaky grounds.
Yeah.
So like, everyone's trying to a new you or whatever, a new universe, right? The new fucking Spider-Man universe with Venom, and the fucking new whatever universe.
The Dark universe with the Mummy and all that Invisible Man who's going to be played by Johnny Depp.
Yeah, and apparently they're doing something with the Justice League universe and doing a Justice League Dark universe or something.
Yeah.
Or something like that. All these universes, they're not going to work. Like, everyone wants to mimic the billions and billions of dollars.
I don't think what people don't understand is it's not necessarily like the universe thing that, like, a lot of times these Marvel movies are just like, they're just good entertaining movies. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, there's no secret to it that like these could be disconnected.
No, but I get it. So Jed was not interested in the superhero movies, not interested in superheroes, not a comic book fan. Then he watched Iron Man. Everyone's gateway drug for the MCU. Loved the character so much, and said, "I love superheroes." Right, and then I was like, well, if you watch the ending sequence, they hint at finally moving forward with some other stuff and connecting to it. He's like, "Oh, that's really super cool. Do you think they'll do the Avengers?" I'm like, "I don't know. We'll see how far this goes." Then Captain America did it, and it just kept cycling down to Thor, etc. And each movie was really good, and he really enjoyed each one. And as I was telling him the stories of how we were getting excited, it was the build-up of all those years of those movies to finally see them all come together to an incredible film, which was the first Avengers, right? That reaction gave enough power for the MCU to continually push itself forward inside of its own universe because of that, what probably took 10 years of building, right? But everyone...
I think it was 4 years of building.
4 years up to the Avengers?
Yeah. It was only Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor.
And a Hulk movie in there, wasn't there?
Oh, yeah. Technically, the Hulk movie is, canon with Edward Norton.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah. But 4 to 5 years, whatever, doesn't matter. And then that energy kept it running, right? But that's why it's still working, is based on that thrill of constantly seeing those characters unite after their stories are told. No one else... like, as it is right now, as soon as the second Avengers came out, or as any of the heroes come together in Civil War, I wasn't like, oh my god, I can't wait for them all to get together. I'm not even really all that excited. Like, oh my god, I can't wait for 62 heroes to get together for Infinity War. I'm excited for Infinity War because I want to see Thanos. I want to see like the big climactic battle. The unification of characters is not important anymore.
No, what I don't understand is like, why do these people think that like, again, it's kind of what you described. It was this build up, this slow thing that's never been done before with iconic characters that we already knew outside of movies. It's not just like, you know, when they're creating this fucking dark universe, all these stupid monsters, the mummy and stuff. It's like, what the fuck do I care? Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't care. What are you building up to?
But it's a good example, the Defenders, right? They spent all those years and all those seasons building up to the Defenders. And when they did watch the Defenders, and I actually really enjoyed the season despite its mixed reviews. I thought it was still quite good. And I will talk about that in the After Dark portion afterwards. When they all did unify in the show, it was a great episode. But I wasn't like, woo, they're all together finally. I was just like, okay, they're together. Like, I've watched teams unify now like 4 or 5 times. I watched the Guardians get together. I watched the Avengers get together. I watched the fucking the Justice League get together, and the list goes on. They keep on trying to reenact the Avengers assembling in the Avengers over and over and over.
And that's
again.
like, they don't get that. That's not the thing that like necessarily like. I mean, it worked, but it's not.
It's not the only
reason why. Yeah,
there was way more to it. It was like getting attached to Captain America because of an awesome movie, getting attached to Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, getting attached to Thor and Chris Hemsworth. You know, like we grew with these characters.
Yeah, like when you just announced like they're like, well, this is going to be a cinematic universe. It's like, so what? Like, you know, that's all. Like they seem to think that that's like this train to money, and it's like it's not really.
No,
I never understand it. All right, let's go to some video game news. Sony set its date for TGS 2017.
Yeah, so we got the Tokyo Game Show.
Ooh, coming soon, September 19th. Just a couple weeks away. And also, they're having a Paris Games Week in November sometime. I think early November. And then after that, Sony's doing PSX, which is mid-December.
Yeah. That's tight billing.
That's a lot of shows in the next couple months.
I remember the front-loaded part of this year, and now we're in the slow part, and it's like front-loaded and end-loaded.
Yeah.
You know? It's like you've had your orgasm, now you're taking a break, and you're going in for round 2.
Yeah, smoke break, and then now you're going back in for another round. So, I'm not expecting much from TGS or Paris Games Week, honestly.
I'm expecting more from TGS and Paris Games Week, because I don't know what the fuck comes... What the fuck comes out of Paris Games Week?
I think it's a lot of, like, microwave leftovers. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of, like, we showed a little bit of this, now here's more. You know, like, it's expanding on what we've already seen.
Did we get Ni no Kuni stuff from Tokyo Game Show last year?
No, we've only got Ni no Kuni stuff at PSX up until E3 this year, when they, like, had that sideshow, and they were like, here's the release date, and we were like, what the fuck? So, for historical precedence, Sony last year at TGS 2016... They announced Final Fantasy 15 PS4 Slim, Neo's release date, Hot Shot Golf, the release date, I guess, something with PS Vita, Nier Automata's release date, Earth Defense Force 5. Like, that's, you know, it's very minimal.
They're minimal shows, though. That's the thing, right?
But TGS used to be big when we were younger. Yeah. TGS used to be as big as E3. It was like Japanese E3, and I feel like it's really like toned down in the last 5 years.
Japanese gaming isn't what it was.
No, but I feel like even this year, I think some of the best games we got were Japanese. Persona 5, Nier, Neo, you know, all these big ones.
No. I think the studios are still making good work, but you remember how Japanese video games kind of made gaming for us? Because, like, when we go back over our classic games, 90% of them are from Japan.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, like, that's not the case anymore. The makers of video games now are across the globe. Studios from anywhere across the world can make the next greatest hit that'll ever happen. Yeah. They used to almost only come out of Japan.
Witcher's from, like, Sweden, you know? Yeah. So I'm not expecting a lot for TGS, honestly. We're still going to do a prediction show, as we always do, with our fucking silly hopes and dreams.
Or your silly hopes and dreams.
Yeah, mine are always sillier. But I'm not expecting a lot. I'm really expecting to play it low-key again. Same with Paris Games Week. I think we're getting a lot of, like I said, microwave leftovers. Here's some new footage of God of War. Here's some new footage of things you already know about. And then PSX, I think, is going to blow us away again.
But some of these in-between conferences, it's like I would almost prefer... I'm getting tired of giant loads from particular conferences. Like E3, here's like what your news that you need to know for the next fucking 6 months until we get to PSX. And then let's just keep running that on 6-month cycles. I miss kind of the trickle. Like, it used to work a lot better back in the day when we had PSN Magazine and shit like that, because PSN had to come out with issues and news and information every month.
Well, let's be real, too. Everything was a lot more mysterious back then, because we got it only through magazines, and we get, like, a blurry screenshot of, like, a game, and we're like, that does look cool. And then, like, a caption was like, maybe a game with a dragon? You're like, what?
Like, in this screenshot, we're going to break down this screenshot for 25 minutes.
Yeah, like, it was just, magazines were a lot more mysterious. You could, your imagination could go a lot more wild. With the internet, you get everything instantly. That's another thing. TGS and Paris Games Week, those aren't technically for the North American audience. I mean, we watch the fuck out of them because we're gamers online. We just eat up every little fucking thing.
Yeah.
But, technically, not for us. Paris Games Week, again, that's for, like, the European people and whatnot. So, it's not, like, PSX and E3 are really the big two that are like, hey, here's a 6-month gap between this, and then we're going to rotate information through them. EA on the future of Mass Effect. Mass Effect's just rough position. All right.
But you know what I like about all of this? I like that people are complaining and talking about the fact that they said, like, what a bad announcement. Like, what a shitty thing to do. You're so right. When everyone wants to let an IP die or even let it rest, they just don't talk about it for a long time.
Yep.
But to come out and go, hey guys, which I think was a literal intentional thing, where they were going to be like, let's just fucking poke the hornet's nest and see if people still like this franchise after Andromeda. And they did, and everyone's like, don't you dare threaten the franchise.
So yeah, there's been comments from at least 2 people who have direct influence in Mass Effect's future. So, EA. Well, I think my personal opinion is, I think the game, I usually don't do this, but this is one of those places where I feel like the game got criticized a little bit more than it deserved. EA Game Greenlighter Executive Vice President Patrick Sutherland said, I think the game is actually a great game. Yes, we have to acknowledge the fact that there were some things that maybe could have done better, but absolutely, as a whole, if you go in and you buy the game today, with everything that's in it today, I believe that game's worth buying, personally. So that's the first thing I'll say. The second thing I'll say is, for Mass Effect as a franchise, it has such a big fan base, and as you know, there are people saying, oh, EA's not making another Mass Effect. I see no reason why we shouldn't come back to Mass Effect. Why not? It's a spectacular universe. It's a loved series. It has a big fan base, and it's a game that has done a lot for EA and BioWare.
It's practically the reason why you exist.
What we need to be careful, though, is whenever we bring back Mass Effect again, we have to make sure that we bring it back in a really relevant way, in a fresh, exciting place. That's my job, and that's Casey Hudson's job, and BioWare and the Mass Effect team's job, to figure out what that looks like, and that we don't know yet, but we will.
Yeah, so on the hiring for BioWare, they have only for Dragon Age and for Anthem, right? And they're going to focus in on fucking Anthem. Like, it's a big job to make that game. And they want to release the next Dragon Age.
Yes. So I mean, even if Mass Effect is their next project after that, we're not seeing Mass Effect till, like, what, 2021?
Yeah. But that's what they mean by putting it on the back burner. Not that they're not going to work on it at all, and it's just, like, going to sit there and rot for it in the background until we're, like, fucking 45, and suddenly we're like,
if Andromeda had done better, we would be seeing it, like, a sequel to that, I think.
We would be seeing a
Montreal
sequel.
wouldn't have been shut down, and we would have gotten Andromeda 2, or whatever it's called.
We would have gotten a sequel to Andromeda. As it is right now, we'll never see a sequel to Andromeda.
No, I can't imagine.
No.
Casey Hudson also on Twitter responded to someone saying, with Casey Hudson back in BioWare, believe me, it's not the last thing we have seen of Mass Effect. They'll be back with a vengeance. And then he quoted that and said, yes, I love Mass Effect too much to not want to work on it again in the future. Thanks for the support. It means everything to our team.
Who's Casey Hudson?
Casey Hudson is like one of the founders of BioWare, I believe.
Oh, yeah, one of the original guys who worked on the original Mass Effect.
He's the one who came back, I believe.
Yeah, that's one. Okay.
All right, next up, a game that's Mike and me both have a fondness for, Dark Cloud.
I love both of them.
Level 5 wants another Dark Cloud just as much as you do, but it's not up to them, says the CEO. Basically, the hinge of the story is Sony owns the Dark Cloud name, and Level 5 has not been able to make it yet. But there has been talks. He said there's been a lot of requests and voices to create a Dark Cloud 3 or some form of Dark Cloud. That IP is co-owned or managed by Sony Computer Entertainment, so it's not something we can do or act upon on our own. Consider those dreams dashed then, although Hino did hint that Level 5 and Sony had entered negotiations over Dark Cloud in the past. I'm not sure if that's happening now, he was quick to add after telling us his own personal interest in a revival.
Yeah, I mean...
It doesn't seem like something that's like, going to come back super soon.
I kind of wondered, and I put this out there to the fans out there, when you freak out about bringing a game back, and then you freak out at the studio that makes it, and they come back and go, guys, it wasn't just our game. Like, do you guys go to Sony? Talk to Sony. Or do you just keep yelling at the studio that originally made it? Yelling at these guys, like, yelling at Level 5 and telling them, please make the game, go fight and find their game. They have no power over Sony. Sony's just sitting there going, ha, 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 and farts cash out, you know? Like a big fat Jabba the Hutt that just spews money.
I assume most people don't know. The fact that they even know who the developer is like apparently a fucking... Like, didn't we talk about this on the last 5-minute warning? Or I figured it might have been off air. We were talking about how, like, they asked a bunch of, like, regular Call of Duty players who made the game. And, like, they were like, I don't know. We have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
And, like, it's a logo that appears every time. You can't skip it. It's every time you play a game, the logo is right there for the company. Yeah. Like, that must be so unfulfilling for any marketing person. Like, oh. Just stabbed to the heart. You know, the fact that people even know Level 5 made it or tweeting at them, how the fuck should they know that, like, Sony are the owners of the rights, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't know that before this interview. It's just, yeah.
It's also maybe assigned to some really bad fucking logos, because I have to admit, I remember some studios just because their logos are awesome.
Never Soft when I was a kid. Had that fucking eyeball with a spike through it, and I was like, hardcore.
Well, you mean fucking Guerrilla Games. It's a very simple, very awesome logo. And I still remember them, even though they really kind of only got their fame recently with Horizon Zero Dawn. But I'm looking forward to everything they do from now on, because they made one of my easily top 3 games of my life.
Of all time. We're also way more plugged in than the average person. But I would expect, even if you're not, like...
If you're playing the fucking game, if you're on every single time.
Yeah, exactly. If you're someone who had, like, 200 hours in Call of Duty, I would expect that you could name Activision.
I wasn't plugged in when I was a kid, but because every single game I turned on kept having Squaresoft pop up in the front of it, I learned the company.
Yeah, same. Capcom, like, I knew those games... I don't know. People are fucking idiots.
Did they only remember Sega because it had that stupid Sega? Like, that's it? Or what? Like, do you need a catchphrase?
I was having this conversation with my friend online, and we were talking about the whole two Joker things and, like, how audiences are going to get confused. And sometimes I reel back a little bit, and I have some faith in people, and I'm like... No. And I was like, I think that, like, treat us a little smarter. I was like, I don't think the average person would get that confused if Jared Leto was a Joker and... whoever, Steven Seagal was the Joker. and
bring it around.
That's right. and he's like, I don't know, people are pretty stupid. And then and I like come back down to reality, and I think like, yeah, like people took their kids to Deadpool and thought it was, you know, a regular superhero movie they could go see. Fucking stupid. People are idiots. Yeah. Like, no wonder they don't know what company the game.
But they also don't have an importance to register this stuff, because like whenever I sit with Jed and I'm going over things, we're watching The Defenders, and I had to basically do a Wikipedia entry on season 2 of Daredevil.
He's blind.
Yeah. So he's like, who's Elektra? And I'm like, you watched a whole fucking season of her. She was your favorite character. I don't know who she is. They don't care about remembering this shit. So if they have to sit back and remember who Joker is, they're going to have to sit back and go like, who is he again? Why is he important? And then you're like, why are there 2 of them? Well, because there's this split thing in multiple universes. That's dumb. I don't want to retain that information.
You're right. The average
it's not important to them.
Yeah. The average person probably won't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's disappointing. Another disappointing thing is the Final Fantasy 15 director is looking to include a level editor on the PC version. This just goes back again to our last 5-minute warning. We were talking about how long is Square going to milk Final Fantasy 15. Apparently for quite some time.
And we knew we would, but we just asked them to stop.
Please stop
making fucking Final Fantasy shit.
So, I mean, I don't give a fuck with level editor, whatever. That was just a thing that's just like affirming us.
I'm kind of baffled though that people are still playing it so much. As a matter of fact, there's more people playing it.
I think that's great for them. I hope they make a ton of money off this one so they can make another great game.
More people are playing it now, and more people are beating it now, and apparently their expansion content's working. I would be curious to find out though, because like that kind of content, like I was saying, I think it was actually in the 5-minute warning podcast, was that. All that old school side content that we used to laugh at, like Final Fantasy 9 coming out with weird attachment and the side Kokobo game you can play on the fucking Game Boy, blah blah blah. And if you had the codes, you could go online and put this thing in, and then blah shitty whatever fuck. That was really popular in Japan, but it was really not well received here. I wonder for Final Fantasy 15 if Japan is really enjoying this massive amount of side content.
All those like parade things they're doing in game and all that shit. Yeah.
I wonder if like that's the content that's actually working.
Could be.
And I would say that in the long run, that's a better idea, because to reignite Final Fantasy in the hearts of the Japanese is a better goal for them, because that was the market that made it great, so they need to make it great there again. And currently, right now, Final Fantasy is not their favorite. It's North America's favorite.
Yeah. I hope Final Fantasy does well. As long as it does well and we get another one, it's all good.
Yeah.
I can wait. We waited forever for 15.
Yep.
I don't actually want to talk about this last one. Shadow of War is WB's biggest marketing campaign ever. The pre-orders are ahead of Batman Arkham Knight, which is surprising. It's just weird at like how like well this is going to perform. The first game was good, like it was fun, I liked it, but like, and I don't care about Lord of the Rings shit. I'm not going to be playing this one, and I'm surprised that more people are into this one than the first one.
I was surprised at the amount of people who were playing it, and I saw a lot of streaming of it too. But the thing is I'm always surprised at the weird underground, but also massive underground. It's like if you had an underground group of people and there were 200 people who all knew a secret, but instead everyone knows the secret and they're all underground, and there's like one person standing outside going, "What's Lord of the Rings?" And everyone else is, but they won't talk about the fact that they all know about Lord of the Rings because everyone's a fucking hardcore Lord of the Rings fan. And it's funny, but no one talks about it. Everyone's like, "Oh, I love Harry Potter and the MCU and everything like that." And you're like, "What about Lord of the Rings?" Yeah, it's cool.
It's not in like conversation as much. Yeah,
but it actually, when you go to their house, their entire house is like themed like Riverdale, you know, and you're like, "Oh, so we're all hardcore Tolkien fans. Can't we just fucking admit that?" So I think that's why the surprising sales is that everyone's like secretly going out and buying it because they're just like, anything to do with orcs.
I mean, the first one did well, but it's at the time, the only reason I was playing it was because it was kind of a drought of a year. I think it was 2014 or 13, whatever year it was. It was a drought year, and like that was like literally like it won Game of the Year awards in a year where like it normally would not. It was a good game, but like it's not Game of the Year material in any other year. You know, that's the thing. But that year was just so dry that was one of the best games that came out, and like I thought that was why it did so well, and I thought this sequel was gonna bomb because again, people are like, "Oh, I played that, but I had no reason to play the sequel." So. Whatever. That's it. Come back after the break for After Dark when we're talking about our fucking shows and comics and stuff. I was going to name something, but I forgot what I've been reading. I need to make a list.
His brain just shut down. Fire.
Welcome to the After Dark segment with your host, KLG. How do you like the After Dark music?
I actually like the After Dark music. It's nicer too, rather than having like halfway through and you're like, "I'm getting a little bit drawn into this. I'm in a cozy." Although I suppose it'll wake you up if you get bored halfway through.
That's not our goal. We're never trying to bore you.
No.
Okay, so we're going to go over what we're watching, playing, and reading this week. I'll try and be quick about the Dragon Ball Super, which I've always been watching.
Please.
So last week they had an episode. Dragon Ball Super is going to be a constant throughout this until the fucking series dies, so just stay with me.
It's not going to, though.
Dragon Ball Super is super profitable. They'll be making it for years to come.
I know, and I'll deal with this forever.
Okay, so this last episode is a fucking it's quintessential Dragon Ball Super. They did a thing that when I describe it to you is going to sound like they did something right, but they executed it wrong. It was a whole Master Roshi episode. He fought 3 different people in the Tournament of Power, and actually the fights were pretty cool in themselves. It was Master Roshi using his smarts rather than power in a lot of cases because he's a fucking weak old man. Yeah. He's actually pretty strong. He has that whole muscle form.
Yeah, but like in comparison to everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. In comparison with like Goku and everyone else, he's weak as fuck. Anyways, he uses all his power on the last one he fights. Last enemy he fights, and it takes it all out of him, and he like collapses. And Goku's fighting someone else, and like just Super Saiyan Blues gets the guy off of him, goes over to Master Roshi, and Master Roshi. It looks like he's actually gonna die. I thought he was gonna die. I thought they were gonna have a poignant moment where Master Roshi died.
And actually kill off a character like that.
Yeah, that would be crazy. That would be a super impactful thing to happen. So Goku rushes over, and he's like, "Roshi!" And he starts using like defibrillators they use. He's kind of like putting his hand on his chest and using like just a little energy blast to like pump him back in. And then he does this like all of a sudden like he's like Roshi, and then like his hair like he like depowers, and he just uses like this like aura goes into Roshi, and Roshi is like healed again, and he's like oh, whatever, he lives. And it's just like it felt so flat for me. And again, people were like, I almost cried in this episode. I'm like, what the fuck? I felt it would have been so much more poignant if like Goku had flown over, and in between like the blasts of the defibrillator, it flashed back to Dragon Ball, and it flashed back to him being a kid with Krillin, big head, weird, small body Krillin, and like them training together because Krillin's on the sidelines too. He's like he got ringed out because he's stupid, and he's over there crying too, like because he's seeing Master Roshi die. Like it would have been so much more poignant to like clip to some memories that Krillin has of Roshi, and just to like really get it into your head a little more. This was basically just like watching Goku like hit his chest for 3 seconds, and then he's like, I'm alive again. And I was like, there was no weight to this. Like, and they could have had weight to that. That was just disappointing, I mean, it could have been an emotional moment where it just fell flat again for me.
I'm happy they're actually tackling older characters, though. That's interesting. Like, I mean, everyone's like, oh, where's Android 16 or whatever the fuck, right? I'm glad they're tackling these characters because we used to talk all the time about how it's just the Goku Vegeta show. Yeah. But you're seeing fucking the androids come back. You're seeing Roshi. You're seeing maybe even
and Tien is actually probably in the episode next week or the week after. So
yeah, and like Tien might show up, and I don't know if Yaochu or...
Yeah, Yamcha just got excluded completely. Oh. Yamcha's not in there anymore.
No, his little white doll thing. That
fucking... Oh, Chaozu.
Chaozu.
I don't know where Chaozu is. Tien is in the tournament. Chaozu would count as an extra person. You're only allowed to have 10 people in the tournament. Chaozu's not there. He's not even in that arena, though, so I don't know where he is. He's just somewhere, being a doll.
I don't even get what the relationship is between the two of them.
Me neither.
Or what he's supposed to be, because he's still a doll. He didn't age with any of them.
He's like a prince doll thing.
That Tien brought to life?
Maybe. I could do some Wikipediaing right now, but it's not important. Who fucking cares?
No, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Good God, no one knows what that is.
Anyways, the fights themselves were actually interesting, and you got a whole episode that was all Master Roshi. It was really cool. I liked that. Yeah, you're right. The going back to a character, that part was cool, but then, yeah, the actual emotional part, again, fell flat for me. Just like Gohan seeing that the person he just eliminated from the tournament had a family, and now their universe is erased. Again, just not enough, like, they're not taking their time, you know? It's almost like feels rushed.
Well, so that's Dragon Ball, though. I mean, how much do you really expect to get out of it? The fact that your expectations are, I expect something deep from Dragon Ball.
No, that's not true, though. I mean, even back in Dragon Ball Z, the Buu saga, even back then, like the Vegeta Trunks moment, like when he was about to sacrifice himself to kill Majin Buu, like that was a poignant moment. Like he takes Trunks by his side, even after he's did that as the Majin sign, and he gives him a hug, which is the first time Vegeta ever had any emotion. See, I feel like I'm going on too long with Dragon Ball now. But anyways, he takes him, and then he, like, punches him in the stomach, and then he's like, Goten, fly off with Trunks, because I'm going to go fucking kill Buu. And then he explodes, and doesn't even kill Buu. Yeah. And he just killed himself. I think that was a poignant moment. I thought that was good. They took their time with that moment.
Yeah.
And Vegeta showing any emotion at all, I think, it was a huge character leap for him.
I think you could probably pick about 3 out of the whole series.
Sure, but that was still done better.
It's so easy to egg you on.
It was still done better. I just wish you'd seen this, because I'm not saying, Dragon Ball is like some fucking, it's not Shakespeare. But, like, they've had emotional points that have worked. And, like, something as simple as a character dying, even if Roshi had died there, I still would have been like,
So you hear this passion in Cal's voice right now. This comes from his fervor defense of trying to explain why he watches this show and tries to defend his adulthood, I guess.
No, it's like,
you're like, no, it's good. Like, you're still trying to.
It's not good. It's not though. I'm entertained by it though. You know what else I'm entertained by? Fucking Riverdale.
I'm not.
You might say, hey Cal, what have you been watching? The Defenders? No. You know what? I haven't even watched Daredevil Season 2. I haven't watched Luke Cage. I haven't watched Iron Fist. You know what I did do? I binged all 12 episodes of Riverdale though. And that was an entertaining piece of drama.
I get it for garbage TV, like if you're sitting back and turning something on to just like not focus.
You want to talk about not Shakespeare. Riverdale is not Shakespeare.
No, but you're doing it to be like, I don't want to focus at all on what I'm. It's like turning on Family Guy when you've got half an hour before you go to bed.
Yeah, it is totally that. It was just like this addictive junk food of a show. It had a murder mystery going on, like something to cling on to throughout the episodes. And
I think you're right. But before we were talking about this on the break, was like the tropes of teen drama. After being stuck in the world of Buffy and everything else like that when I was younger in the 90s, I was so. Like, just Riverdale was like, all right, I know all of this stuff, and I get why you're using these, because it's like, it's Archie, it should be kind of just running on all the tropes, but I'm like, all right, fuck it, I know these.
That's the thing, I never watched, like, The OC, or One Tree Hill, or whatever the other ones are, Dawson's Creek. I've never watched any of those. I have no idea. This is all new to me.
90210.
None of that, I never watched any of that shit, so, I think actually the closest thing I watched was, watched Popular. Do you remember Popular?
No.
No one does.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, Riverdale was super entertaining. I really like the vibe of it. It has this like dark tone. Like they said they were trying to draw from Twin Peaks. And I mean, it has like 1% of the weirdness that Twin Peaks has. Like, not.
Have you watched the new season?
0.5. No, I'm waiting until it ends. The new season. Because I need to watch old Twin Peaks again. I don't remember what the fuck happened now.
You need to watch it?
If I want to understand what's going on, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah. I don't think I ever watched the second season because I heard it was bad.
Yeah.
But people are saying this season's so good that I want to watch it.
Yeah.
But Riverdale, it has these kind of like spooky vibes. Jughead's this fucking like dark loner, and I'm like, I dig it.
No,
let's do it. Let's do this.
I always thought exploring an adult dark form of Archie was always going to be interesting. I wish the show had more of a hook for me. I just kind of got bored and dropped it. It's
fun. Yeah, I honestly didn't really expect to like it. It was one of those things where I just like, I heard this was decent, let's turn it on, watch, give it one episode, and then like even after one episode, because so many things are fucking happening, it's just like, Yep, there's something for everyone to like. Here we go. Let's delve in. I recommend Riverdale. I'm looking forward to the second season coming out in October, I believe. And something we've both been watching is Rick and Morty.
Yeah, so we're back up to the latest episode. Did we report on?
So no, we didn't. We had the 5-minute warning, so we missed. So we missed the Jerry episode.
Yeah.
And then we haven't talked about the newest episode either, the Toxic episode. So let's talk about the Jerry one.
Yeah,
first.
The Jerry one. Jerry one for both Cal and I got to say, right back to form.
Yeah, best since the season opener.
So fucking funny.
Great episode.
Like, I haven't laughed out loud in, like, a severe I need to pee way in Rick and Morty this season at all, as we've complained about. This episode, by far, no questions asked. My top laugh was, like, Rick goes and does his complex sciencey thing to just capture something to basically ride home. And when after he captures it, he just to be like give the last middle finger to Jerry, sticks him in the pouch of the creature, but also right where the nutsack of it is just going to hit him in the face the whole time.
As he's running.
And then Jerry's face is like he just sat there and took it. And it doesn't wax him in the face because he knows he deserves it.
They tranked Rick and he's like dumb, so he has to go on the airplane, and like Jerry abusing him in there is like super funny.
And he's like, "Oh no, we get shoot now."
Oh no, now we get the shoot. Like I want a 90-minute cut of Avatar. Like
90-minute cut of Avatar.
Like the shit. Like there's just like such off the wall shit in that episode. Like even you said like that super dark stuff. Like when the immortality field dropped and they killed the sister.
And that got me so much because like I haven't had that moment where I was like, there's no reason to have ever made this funny, ever. And then suddenly, like this kid shoots like another kid in the head, and it's dead. And she's like, Sarah, and like we're laughing, like not even like Family Guy dark humor where you're just like, oh ha ha ha. Instead, this was like, oh ha ha ha.
Yeah,
like that shouldn't be funny.
And there's great character moments in this episode too, just with Jerry, like Rick telling Jerry who he is, like you feed off your patheticness and all this stuff, and like at the end of the episode, I don't think they quite like each other still, but like
they have a respect for each other.
There was some sort of mutual respect there, you know.
I was saying this whole time that like Jerry is the counterpoint to make this show good. Everyone else has a confidence thing. Even Morty in this season, he's now picking up a sense of experience and confidence. Like, he knows how to disarm a neutron bomb. He gets Rick's shit. He's the only one who understands it, really, because he's learning about how unimportant everything is once you know everything.
Yeah.
So, like, he's getting that sense. And fucking, what's her name? His sister? Summer. Is gotten herself down to, like, a confidence of figuring out who she is, and she just likes badassness, and she just wants to be left alone to be badass, right? You know, like, just being left alone to get high. Like, she doesn't care. And, like, those characters have that. And then it was in the stark contrast of Jerry that we got the sense of someone who is just a piece of shit and worthless, you know?
Yeah.
And it made the humor funny with these high-powered characters who are extremely intelligent and, even if not intelligent, at least extremely, like, experienced. And then this useless human being. It was in those stark contrasts that they made the humor work. I feel like Jerry is a component that's missing in a lot of the episodes.
Yeah, like I miss Jerry being in a lot of the episodes.
There's so many quotable moments in this episode, which I fucking love. Like you brought up the cybernetic implant, and then, all it does is end up shooting out a little fucking
suction cup, and it just like comes back to him, and it's dangling in front of him, and he does this like grab thing
because his depth. I didn't even put that together until you said it. Was like his depth perception's off because he doesn't have the other eye, so he's like reaching for it. He's like to shoot him, or even like the wordplay conversation, because like after they do the like time merger, right? Jerry's like, you know, I think you're right, because I just spent an endless epoch merging with my essence with you, and I still think you're an asshole. And then Jerry's just like, I think we need to leave you alone with your relationship with the word epoch.
Yeah.
Like, so fucking good. So good.
Yeah.
Excellent episode.
Great. And then the next episode, which was the
Toxic episode.
It went back to my feeling on almost all the rest of the season, which was I dig the concepts, I dig the character stuff.
Thoroughly entertained. Let's go put that out there for sure. Like, despite us ragging on this season, I'm still happy with Rick and Morty.
I am. Yeah. I wish this season had been funnier. Yeah. But that's the thing. Even if I don't, not all the jokes are hitting for me, the concepts and the character stuff is still taking me through. Like, if it was another show that was just like a Family Guy's not funny, I'm turning the episode off because I'm like, whatever, like, I don't care about it.
I liked this episode probably a little more than you did, because I still laughed a couple of times inside of it. like, you know, he gets the drones and he's like offering up the drones keep, and he's just like, no, she can't have the drones. They turn into a little fucking Voltron robot.
Yeah.
Like, that made me laugh.
Yeah, that was the part that was the only part that made me laugh this episode.
There was a couple of other quick little quirk moments that did actually still get me. And I still had a kick out of the whole thing. But I like the opening sequence I had seen before, which I think downplayed the episode for me.
Oh, yeah, they went through the thing. Yeah, that was like a preview on YouTube or something.
Yeah, and I saw that, and I laughed when I saw it, because like them actually freaking out after they go through everything after 6 days of like hell. And
I like Morty's like desperate cry.
Yeah.
Like,
that was awesome. But I'd seen it before, so it kind of took away from the rest of the episode because I had seen it, so I had to give it a fair shot for that. Also, I laughed at that song at the end. Suck my flappy, flappy holes. That he had the sexy song that he sang over the end.
Oh, I don't even
My
remember.
Jerry Flappy Hole. No?
Oh, yeah.
I don't. That whole song when it went through it, and he's like, "You piece of shit, suck my Jerry Flappy holes." I was like, I was pretty cracked up. So I got more of a kick out of it. But you're right, it still wasn't.
Yeah, for me, it was
like,
just it was just.
It's not a miniverse episode. It's not a fucking the marriage counseling episode. It's
no. I mean, again, it's the flat line with the rest of the season for me, basically. But again, I like the character moments of like Rick considering the toxic part of himself is a part that cares about Morty.
Yeah.
We got an answer. He cares about Morty. We know this, but he considers it a bad part of himself, which I think is a great.
But I also found it
character
interesting
moment.
what people didn't point out was that when Beth was upset when she came in and saw everything, he still retained his care for Beth because he did care for Beth. Like his good side was there, worrying about whether or not she was upset. When the daughter showed up, even the toxic side, both of them were both like, "Sorry, Beth, let's get out of here. I don't want to hurt you." Like, at the end of the day, his daughter, which they've been hinting at over the whole series, has been one of the other things he still actually fully cares about.
Yeah.
You know, very, very cool for that kind of component of a character exploration of Rick. And also tying into other stuff. It's like the Council of Ricks always said he was a little bit different because he still cared about his Morty. And he also still cared about his stuff. Like that's the thing about our Rick is that he does still care, which maybe makes him better, but he thinks it makes him worse.
One of my favorite jokes in the whole series, and it's just such a stupid joke to laugh at, is the one where evil Morty is there, but it's like the evil Rick, and he's like, I put a good evil alignment for all the Ricks in the universe, and I'm right here, and you're just 2 away. And he flips the one in the middle. This guy, right here, super weird. I don't know why that one always fucking it cracks me up. This guy, super weird. Like, why do you say that? I don't know. But yeah. This season again. I think the season's like half over now, and I've enjoyed 2 out of the 5 episodes. So
visually, the artists have gone above and beyond, though.
Yeah, I mean they're always improving. Yeah,
but I mean just in design and style and everything that's come up, I've been really quite impressed with this year with like how much visual spectacle I've always been looking forward to out of each one. But yeah, so that's Rick and Morty. What I'm watching is I actually finished watching entirely was The Defenders, which I enjoyed. It's no Daredevil season 1 and 2. It's no Jessica Jones. I didn't care too much for Luke Cage. I thought it was very boring halfway through. Iron Fist wasn't good, but. This show is totally watchable. The first 5 episodes are very strong. The last 3 get a little bit Iron Fisty.
That's a shame because I thought that with it's 8 episodes, right?
8 episodes.
I thought that with the shorter season they'd be able to tighten everything up and really not falter.
There was a couple of moments where they definitely skipped over shit or cut things out real quick. I'm not going to do any spoiler stuff because Cal hasn't seen it, but. There were a couple of moments in there, especially later on with anything going around with Sigourney Weaver's character, where it felt very passed off and very quickly done. And it also felt like her character wasn't getting directed or pushed as far as it could be. Because some people were saying like her performance wasn't that great. Her performance for the first 3 episodes was excellent, and then it did start to falter. And it didn't feel like Sigourney Weaver. It felt like her just kind of getting the lines out as quickly as possible.
Going through the motions?
Yeah. And it started playing that out more and more with the rest of the characters. So that was part of the problem. It's just nothing was flushed out or held onto enough to create that emotional connection. Defenders needed 12 episodes.
Interesting.
Personally, it needed to be expanded and give more a long time because like the first 3 episodes for sure, they spent 3 episodes until they finally get the whole team together.
Jesus Christ.
But in those 3 episodes, I was enticed entirely in. I was just drawn in. I was like, I want to be part of this show. And then after that, it slowly faded as they started to rush the story forward. But a couple of things I really loved is in nice nods. In the preview, they showed the scene of them having dinner at the Chinese restaurant. The conversation happens there when some of the other, like when Daredevil and Jessica Jones go, there's a conversation between Luke Cage and Iron Fist, and they totally start broing out together. And Iron Fist in this whole entire segment of that entire restaurant scene is being nothing but kind of a silly, childish, goofy playboy character, like playing up the Iron Fist that we know.
Yeah.
And I was in love with him. Because the actor's really quite good who plays Iron Fist. And I was like, oh my god, this is Iron Fist. Like, like he showed up and threw his money around and he's being...
Do you think we're going to get Heroes for Hire?
I think Heroes for Hire would totally work. Those two characters, the actors together, conveyed the relationship really well. And I was really pleased with what I was seeing. I could see their show together being very good.
That's good to
very,
hear.
very good. So yeah, I'm relatively pleased with the Defenders. I think we lost so much steam with it after Luke Cage dropping pace, and then Iron Fist just wrecked the excitement. But action was good. Only thing that got me pissed off about the action was like they did display Jessica Jones having super strength, but it was so random, and I hate that about what they do with her, because they kind of did it in the show. Like she'd be like, I can punch someone, but she wouldn't punch them hard enough to kill them. I understand that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But in this show, the ninja's coming at her with a sword. Guy should die.
Yeah,
right?
you punch him in the chest.
Punch him in the chest, and let's get this over with, right? In the scene before that, she picked up a fucking trash bin, like those big giant metal ones, and flipped it on its side with one hand. And then the ninja showed up, and one guy kicked her in the chest, and she fell over, and she got up, and she tried to punch him. She hit him, and he just, like, stumbled back a little bit. And I'm like, she should have sent him flying. And then Luke Cage grabs someone and throws him through a wall. And I'm like, they're equal in strength. Couldn't she do that? Like, can't she just fucking...
It's one of those things where, like, they just need to write it that way because they didn't... I don't know. It's like when the Flash gets hit by something, you're like, he shouldn't, but I guess it'd be boring if he didn't.
Yeah. But the thing is like Luke Cage is using his strength like every which way, but she's only using it to lift stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the part that was just kind of getting... It was like if she was not doing that and they were just trying to not have some character in there that was basically
sorry, this is a spoiler, but like, are they magically enhanced at all? Is there any reason?
Yeah, the normal hand aren't, but the hand, like the big people in charge, yes. And Elektra, they gave her super strength as the Black Sky. So that was fine. Like Elektra's stuff was fine because they demonstrated her having like some sort of power coming back. But the others, they were mystically enhanced.
So is it it all believable that maybe she punched him and he stumbled back?
This was a normal ninja. This was one of 20 ninjas in the room. And like Luke Cage grabs normal ninja and throws him through a wall, and then Jessica Jones like just comes up and punches him slightly, and they're like, right? And it pissed me off the most with one scene as they get into that restaurant, and she picks up a dresser, and she just with one hand throws it up and puts it into the door, right? And then Iron Fist goes, wow, she's like really strong. They just fought in the hallway where she punched things but didn't throw any, like, showed no sample of her strength. And Iron Fist, the character in the show, picked up on it. Was like, wow, I didn't know she was strong because she wasn't punching good during the fight. Instead, she just picked up a dresser. Like, what the fuck? Like, fuck you. Like, anyways, that got me.
Yeah, the power inconsistency is always frustrating.
Frustrate the shit out of me. Yeah.
And you'd think with like a character that's relatively low powered compared to the bigger heroes, that like you could do it a lot more consistently and be fine. Yeah. With the Flash, he's supposed to be able to perceive like an attosecond. Yeah. And you're like, okay, well that's unreasonable for anything to happen to him ever. But...
Well, especially since you have another super strength character right next to you who's literally just demonstrating it every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And she's just like, And I'm like, no, she's... Nah.
So where does the Defenders rank, like, show by show wise? Like, Daredevil top?
For me personally, Jessica Jones is my favorite. I know it's a lot slower and not as actiony, but I thought as a show construction, and not just because of the Purple Man, because Jessica Jones, the actress and the whole character, loved. So I was definitely very excited by Jessica Jones. She's now number 1. Daredevil, I actually think Daredevil Season 1 is my favorite, and that's my 2. A lot of people say Daredevil Season 2. I don't agree. Then Daredevil Season 2.
Luke Cage. Or no,
Defenders.
Defenders.
Yeah. Defenders is equal with Season 2 of Daredevil for me.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like...
mid-tier?
Yeah, it's mid-tier. It's Jessica Jones, Daredevil Season 1, Season 2 Daredevil, Defenders, literally mid-tier, and then Luke Cage, Iron Fist.
Okay. Yeah. No, good to know. Yeah. And that's a review for the Defenders.
So what are we playing?
I've been playing some Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, so you've gotten your initial playthrough. So if anyone doesn't know, I've already finished this whole game from beginning to end.
I'm not very far at all. I just landed on Eos.
Yeah.
Eos, the first planet,
the desert planet,
and I've barely done anything.
Yeah.
Like I'm up to the part where like there's no spoilers that I'm ever going to be talking about in here, unless you've not gotten to Eos on Mass Effect Andromeda.
Which means you haven't played the first 4 hours.
Like, yeah, like 2 hours maybe. Yeah. So at first I wasn't feeling it, and then like a Turian appeared on screen, and I got this like rush of like feeling, and I was like,
once the characters came back,
I was like, ooh, I was like, I missed this.
Yeah.
And then I ran around the Nexus for a while. And I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed like the little plots going on there, like the first murder on the Nexus and all this stuff, and I actually liked that mission a lot because it seemed like there was a lot of like gray areas going on, and like I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, and I'm just landing on Eos, and I think I have to go find a body or something, so to figure that out. So I'm liking that.
Those components are actually one of my favorite parts of all of Andromeda.
That seems really Mass Effect-y to me.
It is.
But when I was on the first planet, so that's most of the gameplay I've done. The intro planet, I guess, the one you have to like land on. At first I was like, okay, you're this open world planet kind of thing, like going over all these markers and stuff, and like, so like it didn't immediately grab me, and I'm not sure why. I can't really put my finger on why. Like I just played Zelda, like, and after I'd said like I don't know if I'm really feeling an open world game, and Zelda just hooked me and got me to keep playing and playing. Whereas I wasn't feeling that about Mass Effect. Like I still don't. But I really want to get back in for the characters, because I'm already liking all the characters. I like my crew, I like already, and I just got introduced to the female Turian and the thing. But the actual like exploring the planet stuff, it seemed so like there was nothing there. Like I found like a giant plant thing, but then I couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah. It's lackluster. A lot of the time when you find stuff, you're just scanning it.
That's what I did. I scanned it, and like that was it. And I was like, it'd be cool. Does anything happen with this plant? Like, and nothing happened. So I don't know if you could do back there or whatever. But
no, not really. No, there's a lot of repetition and basics, right? Like, you're like, oh, look, another fucking remnant site that does nothing except for lets me know that I accomplished finding all the remnant sites. And there's a lot of repetitious, basic...
And for after what you told me about, like, you did a whole bunch of stuff, and then you were like, okay, I didn't need to do that much stuff. I'm going to try and, like, even out my playthrough more. Like, I'm on EOS now. I'm not going to try to, like, do everything on EOS at first. I'm going to, like, do some...
It's not a spoiler, but, like, there's areas where you're currently locked off from because the radiation's too high. Right? When you accomplish a certain task, obviously you get to go over it more and get the access to the rest of the map. That's for every single world you get on.
Oh.
No, maybe not all. Sorry, there's another one that doesn't do that. But later on in the game, you can choose your when you want to do that thing to make things okay. I'm not going to spoil what that is. So, like, you could go ahead and do it immediately, get rid of the hazard that's on that planet. Because every planet's different, right? Because I have to say, once you start getting onto more planets, because you spend so much fucking time on EOS in the very beginning, you get on other planets and the danger suddenly becomes very different. There's a couple of really cool ones. But that starts making the variation happen. But in the very beginning of the game, it doesn't make that hook because the first two planets you're on are basically hot and cold. You know, it's like, okay, what the fuck?
I'm going waypoint to waypoint right now. I'm just getting the drivey thing. What's it called?
I forget what they call
it. The rover? I don't know what it is.
I don't even remember what they call it in that game.
Yeah, the driving vehicle. I'm just about to get that. So I'm really not that far in. The controls threw me off at first. The camera, the aiming was super sensitive. I actually had to go, like, turn it down a bit, and I had to, like, readjust. But when I readjusted, like, the aiming was better, but then the camera, when I was actually moving, was a lot, like, slower, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to deal with this because it's better for my actual aiming or whatever. So I didn't like that, but, like, again, you said that, like, as I grow and progress, that'll be better.
It gets a lot better because once you start being able to upgrade and change your weapons and your armor and stuff, and you can start, like, modding in slots, so you can get, like, a remnant gun, and then you add in, like, heat-seeking bullets, so, like, you can fire in one direction and they'll seek over and hit something, or you can turn into like, a perpetual particle beam gun, or whatever, and you start being able to vary up what each one does, because, like, you can turn your shotguns into being, rather than just a shotgun, into something that fires out a whole spray of grenades, right? Cool. Or something like that, which, depending on what you think is actually useful, will be useful. So you can keep playing with these mods, and then add to that you have your normal Mass Effect power system, which is a little bit more complex because the main character has access to all of them, right? And you're going to pick out your favorite, like, top, probably really 2 or 3. Not
is
even.
Slam in there?
Is what?
Slam.
Like, pick up a character and slam it down?
Yeah.
Not really.
this game gets a 0 out of 10. That was my favorite one. It's the one I always pick. I always played as a soldier, as Shepard, and I always they're like, you gotta pick one biotic, and I was like, slam. Slam people up and down.
No, not really.
No, fuck, that sucks.
But there's some really awesome...
That's the thing.
The combos work way nicer.
The combat looks so, like, versatile. And, like, right now, all I've done is, like, you know, normal third-person shooting right now. But I know it's going to get better, so I'm not, like, super judging it.
It does get definitely better, especially when you start breaking down combos, because, like, I always played Biotic, and I played pure Biotic almost throughout that entire game. And once I had enough abilities to do, like, massive AoE combos, because the Biotic specialization... lets every single time you hit a combo, it turns that body basically into an explosion as well. So they'll fly over and explode, but then that person, they just all start exploding, right? Like in this constant chain effect. And I fucking loved in that game, and I think I did that combo 100 times because it was too much fun, was there's an ability called Shockwave, where you do this, right? And you showed like a ground shockwave that goes across, that flings everyone up into the air, and then shoot them with my push, with the homing one. And I'd have up to 3 shots, and there'd be 3 guys floating in there, and they would all go up, and each one of them would initiate a biotic explosion when I did that, and then they'd all fly around the room and create more biotic explosions. So it's just like, I'd go run and charge right into their face with a biotic charge, just wonk right into their face, toss them up in the air, and biotic combo them, and it would just be... And I loved watching their limp bodies float through the air while the little thing went... and hit them and have them explode. And when they get hit by these, back in the old day, it used to be just boom, and then they'd float to the ground, right? Yeah. In this, when they get hit, they fly like a missile ragdoll, like they've been smacked, and you can watch their bodies go wham in the walls and slide down, and you're like, yeah, there's the power I was looking for.
Yeah, like all that stuff sounds like way more fun. But again, I have, you know, the mods I have on my weapon right now are like increased
attack
clip.
By 2.
Yeah, like it's like increase the clip size and shit. It's very like basic shit, so it's like nothing right now.
No,
so combat's really hard to judge. There are still like some like technical problems. The frame rate drops quite a bit in cutscenes.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I never had that.
You never had frame rate drops?
No, never.
Oh, okay. There's tons, like all over the place. There's dips all of a sudden. It'll go back up and then it dips again and stuff. A lot of times in conversations. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong in the conversations with when the conversation isn't as important and it doesn't go into like a cutscene or whatever. The camera just kind of swings around and they're always at a really odd angle. And I adjust the camera and they're like kind of behind my guy, but like I adjust it and I almost get like a profile shot of both of them. You know what I mean? Maybe. Like talking to someone not as important, like Cora outside the ship, and you go into it and you get like this little conversation.
Oh, like if you're talking to the mayor of a town or something.
Just like some random person, not like the ones where you're going with back and forth cutting camera.
Yeah, but I always noticed that before in the old games too.
It didn't do that before.
It didn't?
No, I mean, it looked unrecognizable to me. I thought you always got the cut back and forth conversation with everybody, or you just walk by them and you get nothing. You just hit A on them and they'd be like, "Hello, Shepard," you know, whatever they're saying. For these like less important conversations, my camera is just like swinging weirdly and like it's like positioning them behind my character, and then I have to like manually put the camera around. I'm like, "Hello, hi, I'm here too. I need to see what's going on."
Yeah.
There was some frame dips and like that's weird. I don't know, but I don't know if I'm like approaching these people wrong and pressing A at the wrong time. I don't know what the fuck's going on with that.
I mean, I did notice that a little bit, but I mean maybe it's just
And my camera fucking bugged out like real bad. It like it just like went into the earth, or it went into the Nexus, and I had to reload.
I must have had like the most miraculous clean playthrough of that game because I didn't run into as many bugs as everyone else said. I never got any weird broken walk cycles. When I played this,
I haven't gotten that. Yeah,
I played pre-patch because like, they fixed.
Yeah, you got it like day one.
Yeah. And I never had any broken walk cycles. I had the broken textures and shit like that all the time. Yes. And the animations for the face and stuff sucked. And
oh my god! Better. I also gotta say, although it's not, they can't animate running. I swear to God, the main character runs like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
He looks like he runs like Shepard does.
Yeah.
But he looks like he has a stick up his ass underwater, and he's just like this stupid like.
Oh, the run.
The normal run cycle.
It's not like, the walk, the run animation. Yeah, the
run. Walk's not like great either,
no,
but like the run better, is terrible.
But the run does look like he walks.
But like Shepard never animated good either. When you were walking on the ship, he'd have this stupid like weird jog that looked really bad, and I was just like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah, but BioWare's never really been really amazing at that. Because I take a look at like fucking Dragon Age Inquisition, which was one of their more pretty games before this game came out. And same thing. Like, I played a fucking guy with giant horns, and he walked around really funny. And, like,
it's just,
never really very pretty animators there. It's kind of like a Bethesda thing where they never took it all that seriously.
Yeah, it's like inconsequential to them. They're like, he moves.
This is the interesting part about Mass Effect Andromeda for me, is I find that the interesting contrast, right? Because they were always kind of like that in Bethesda. Like, they never really quite polished it around the edges of what most other...
Bethesda was, like, Fallout 3 is like, the camera, like, zooms in, like, on a flat face, and their mouths barely move.
Yeah.
And
they're known for it, right? And BioWare kind of the same thing with the other Mass Effect games and Dragon Age. It's never really been the most visually striking thing, except for the fact that the designs and everything like that were really pretty.
I still think some of the like when you get into a conversation, like an important conversation with someone, their back and forth and little mannerisms and stuff, it ends up repeating. But like, I think a lot of that stuff's good. Yeah. I thought it was good in the old ones. It's good in this one too.
Yeah, no, for sure. But with Mass Effect Andromeda, this is the first time we've ever seen BioWare go in and just be like, we're going to make the prettiest fucking 4K game ever, right? And because it's got that in the world, but not on the characters, it's very jarring.
It is jarring.
If the world was kind of backtracked into like not trying to be so pretty, and even then they didn't really get all the way there, and not trying to be so 4K and so high def and so fancy, then the character animations wouldn't be quite as jarring.
Yeah, just like the main character's movement is like, it's like the same as Shepard. It's like they almost imported that rig and like the walk cycle, and I was like, I figured you guys would improve this by now, but I guess not.
No.
That's fine. Anyways, yeah, like it's not hooking me like Horizon did or Zelda did, but I'm still gonna keep playing it or whatever. Yeah, I'm hoping it does though. I'm hoping it does with something.
It's gonna hook you with the characters,
whether it's the story, characters, or the gameplay. Like I want something to get me.
The story is hookable for sure. It's not the best Mass Effect story you'll ever get. But the characters, I fucking love the character stories in that. I really did. As per usual with BioWare, like the work with the character development was awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to mostly. And you've been playing Overwatch.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up one thing. It was kind of interesting. It was a weird kind of contrast and also argument. That's an age-old argument with games. Is so Overwatch has released a couple weeks ago their new character Doomfist.
Yeah.
Who is a character that basically doesn't even shoot in a first-person shooter, which I thought was interesting. They have another one that doesn't either. Reinhardt's just a guy with a hammer. The only thing he shoots is like a shockwave every like 15 seconds or something. But interesting mechanic and kind of a neat character. And then on the PC version, everyone's bitching about how OP Doomfist is and how he's the most cancerous character to ever be entered in and he needs to be banned and all this other shit. And I'm like, and I saw the character design and like the ability list, and I'm like, every time in any competitive game they make patch characters and suddenly their ability list is like this long, while the original character's ability list is like 4.
Yeah.
Right? And suddenly this one does have all these passives and all that shit. I'm like, fuck, it's going to be so OP. Everyone's going to be playing him. And it's just going to be this thing that keeps showing up. And I'm like, great. And the Doomfist showed up and I died. Turned the game on. Was not a problem. Like, I was just like, he's easy to drop. I don't get it. Maybe everyone's just not used to playing him. A few weeks in, usually people master the character by that time. Still not a problem. Look at the PC guys, and they're all like, Doomfist, cancer is horrible awfulness, right?
You think it's because you play on console and PC is like it's so much faster with a mouse?
Yeah, because there's certain things. So one of my favorite things to watch is one of the best Widowmaker, which is the sniper character players in Overwatch, is a guy named Kefri. Gesundheit, or cough, whatever. And watching his videos, like, it's insanity. This guy lands shots and first headshots like in crazy shit, and she has this ability to like use a grappling hook to like launch herself up in the air, and he's like in midair firing headshots on like 5 people and shit. And I'm like,
360 no scope.
Yeah, literally doing that shit. And I'm like, okay, doing that with console. Never gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because I have to aim the camera up, push the button, try and aim the camera down while aiming the aim camera stick while pushing a button to fire. Like, my 5 fingers don't even hit enough to do it. Like, it can't do it accurately and reliably without a mouse, right? So that's the thing, is that, like, Doomfist on console, it's not a threat. Widowmaker is a huge, and there are some really good Widowmaker players on console, but she's still a huge skill gap to like try and make her even worthwhile to play in console, and like I just find that so interesting. Like, again, in that console versus PC break.
Oh yeah, it's been like that for years. I remember people complaining a couple of years back about there was some game that had like it was going to do cross-platform play, and like all the PC play people were like, we don't want to play with the console guys. They're going to be too easy to take out. And all the console people were like, no, we don't want to play with PC. Like, that's no. They're going to kill us. Like,
yeah. Yeah, no chance.
It's just you're so much faster, more precise with a mouse. Like it's just.
But it's an interesting design conundrum because like I will never touch a PC because I don't like playing on PC. It's not that PC is better or consoles are better or anything. It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah,
Obviously, there are benefits to whatever style you want to play as, but I want to play on my console because I sit down in front of my TV before I go to bed and I just want to flick this game on real quick. But I can't play, and my favorite character to play is Widowmaker, but I will never play her like Kefri or any of the great Widowmakers out there because I can't literally get my fingers to do, I have to be able to multitask 3 different functions with my fingers at the same time as thinking and playing the game.
Yeah.
Just won't happen.
It's interesting. They might have to push a patch out for PC only.
How do you design a character to readjust the controls to make her more playable, easier, or Doomfist easier? Because Doomfist character's got this like uppercut punch, and then you can aim it down. But if you had a mouse to swing it around fast enough, because you charge up your punch in time to land the combo so it works correctly and make him like as OP as he is in the other games.
Yeah, it is interesting.
I don't even know how to fix it. Usually, I sit back and I'm like, "Oh, that's a fix. They're dumb. They didn't do it." But I'm like.
Yeah, that's like you almost have to start separating the versions and being like, "Hey, we push this out to nerf Doomfist on PC, but he stays the same console." You know, like
something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
it's like only first-person shooter games you really have to worry about that in because like you play Street Fighter on PC, it's the same as you played on console.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it is interesting. Reading, I guess.
Yeah.
I've been reading Edge of the Venomverse. They've released like 6 comics in the last 3 months. They have literally multiple releases every month, and this is Edge of the Venomverse leading up to the big Venomverse arc that they have. These have all been one-off comics, different universes. It's Venom on the Venom symbiote on a different Marvel character in each issue. Totally hit or miss.
Has he fought a dinosaur yet?
Yeah, he did. He totally did. Yep. In the Venomverse comics. It was actually Old Man Logan got a Wolverine.
And fought a dinosaur?
And fought a symbiote dinosaur. Yeah, in the Old Man Logan universe, there's a Tyrannosaurus Rex that has the Venom symbiote. I don't know. I didn't read the Old Man Logan books. I don't know why that is a thing.
No, but how does Marvel come up with these things? Because like, it feels like they're just flipping through a dictionary and going, turkey. And then like, that's it. Like they just stick a turkey in.
Yeah, I don't know. These have all been incredibly hit or miss. I would only recommend 2 of the books. I would actually recommend I'd recommend 3 of them. The first one, the second one, and the last one. They had a X-23 one, which was kind of cool, but I didn't like the art that much. And there's all different artists doing every book too, which has been fun, to watch these wildly different styles. And it seemed people's responses to it too. It's just like, oh, this art ugly, and it really appealed to me. And I was like, oh god, I love this one. And the next one would be like, this one's boring, and I'm like, yeah, I guess.
I always hated was like when changing artists when it kind of changed the power set almost because of the way they drew him. Like, you'd have Venom drawn in one way, but he's got all these tendrils launching out of him, and he's just grabbing someone. He's got all these tendrils wrapped around him, and he's just like sitting on top of him.
Yeah.
But then the other one's just having Venom in a pure suit that has no tendrils, constantly punching stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like...
Some of them really embrace the biting, other ones don't. Like, it's like, does he use his teeth or doesn't he?
It was like a big one for me was like Banshee from X-Men. Back in like the day when there was a Phalanx saga, the first Phalanx saga for X-Men. Banshee was drawn, every book was the same artist for every second issue. So it'd be like that artist, the other one, back to the first one, back to the other one, back, and they kept swapping back and forth. So every second issue, it was like his power set would change.
Oh.
Because like he'd be flying in one, and this guy would draw like the cape as this giant like storm wing, giant, huge, fluffy, pillowy thing that would be inflated with sound, and that's what he's gliding on, right?
Yeah.
And then when he would use his powers, he would scream and he'd draw like the waves and the impact on the ground and stuff like that. And then in the other one, it was just like this like flight suit, little tiny wing, and he wasn't really flying around. It was more like he was just kind of like jumping.
Yeah, like a squirrel.
Yeah. And then it was like he was shooting beams from his mouth instead of a big sonic wave. And I'm like, well, if it was the Banshee in the last book, he would have taken this thing out in one giant sonic screech. Like if you just drew it different. I hated that.
No, yeah, an ongoing thing like that, yeah, it can totally be frustrating. Again, this is like different universe for every comic, so it works a lot better. But yeah, like it's been totally hit or miss so far, and every one has kind of been a standalone story. With at the very end, Captain America with the symbiote is like coming through and recruiting all these different Venoms from different universes for I don't know what yet, the Venomverse.
To fight an even bigger dinosaur.
There's going to be a war going on. I don't know of what. It might just be a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Who fucking knows? So I don't know where this is going. There's been it's been very light on the details. So Venomverse is starting. I'll talk about that when it comes
That'd be
out.
great. Like it comes up at the end, and it's just like, and the greatest threat to the universe is a T-Rex.
Well, they just did that in the mainline Venom books, so I can't imagine them taking that back out and being like, it's the same guy. He's also got a Venom symbiote. Yeah, I don't know what this is. It'd be cool if it was like Carnage, like doing like going through different dimensions or something. Like it'll be like Maximum or Carnage, but whatever. Yeah, like 2 or 3 of these books have been good. I would recommend if you want to go pick them up. Number 1, X-23. Number 2, Gwenpool, and the last one has been Deadpool, and like those ones are entertaining at least.
And last one, really quick cap off is I as everyone's probably heard from about 2 podcasts ago, I'm reading and watching a manga/anime called Made in the Abyss. I had to bring this back up just because I have to fucking highly recommend it. When I first read through the scan source that I had it from, missed or blanked out on the files for chapters like 50 to 80 or something like that, and I just skipped ahead and kept on reading. And I went back and reread over it. It is such an intense and interesting manga/anime. The anime is starting to get into the much darker stuff and push itself a lot further, revealing some pretty ridiculous stuff. And it's just like starting to get into like these weird, darker tones, and as they go further down in the abyss, contrast by this very cute look. But I just had to bring it up because I need to recommend that other people go out there. I want this highly supported, and I want this manga and anime to be highly successful. I think the anime is doing extremely well. But
I really want to dive in on the anime. Yeah. I've been thinking about it since you talked about it 2 weeks ago.
It's very well drawn, beautiful colors, excellently done. As a matter of fact, you could just do the anime. It's word for word manga. But I need to encourage everyone to go out and read this. It does not look like anything close to what you'd be interested in. It looks like cutesy little fuzzy things, like it should be an anime about cooking and liking puppies. But it's contrasted by extremely dark themes that don't kick in until much later on, but I promise you it pays off. Promise you.
Promise you it pays off. Is that it?
That's it.
That's it. As I look at this list, I realize how much more shit I consume than you. And not like quantity, I mean how much shit.
You do turn on a lot of the like garbage disposal stuff a lot more often than I do.
Yeah, I just mean even looking at all the stuff. Like everything on the list that I have is like perceived as like mediocre in quality, if not less than that.
It's a counterbalance. You're garbage. I'm class.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just the lot we've taken in life. I want to throw this out there. Have you watched the Death Note Netflix yet?
No.
No, neither have I. I've heard it's terrible.
I don't want to even turn it on, I'm afraid.
No, I was going to say for next week, the After Dark segment, do you want to do like a mini review?
We'll look forward to that, guys.
Right?
We'll both sit down and force ourselves through that piece of shit and let you know how shitty it is.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, I kind of want to talk about it at least, right? I feel like we've covered it so much in the podcast, it'd be disingenuous of us to be like, we didn't watch it.
Because it was just awful.
Okay.
So, on that note, Steven Seagal is the best actor.
And go watch Dragon Ball Super.
You'll regret it.
Yeah. If you want to find me, I'm on Twitter at TheCalG. Mike is at Mike Kent Draws, and Pens and Pixels across all social media. Pick your poison. Twitter.com/PNP_podcast.
And be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. And give us a thumbs up there. That's always a huge help. And as well on SoundCloud and any other podcast system. You can give us a rating on iTunes. And be sure to leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about anything we've discussed. We'd love to talk to you guys. Or shoot us an email at meetpensandpixels@gmail.com. Other than that,
stay juicy.
It's a bad word.
Keep popping.
Keep popping.
Keep on popping.
That's good. Because I don't want to end up on something that sounds like I'm spitting.
Once you pop, the fun won't stop. That's crazy.
Don't sue.